under that bridge.
Well,
That's great.
that wasn't part of my questioning, but
I get lost.
do you might as well ask, because it's like you get a little shy even watching with you sitting in the room. So I'm wondering when you're watching a clip like that with a whole lot.
I'm
So
not
Here. You know, it's funny though. That series of clips it actually suggests something, and that's it. You might all not have noticed this, but I just did. All the women are funny. I mean, they speak, of course, but I mean, all the women are funny, and the men, although some of them are funny, mostly have gravitas and have. And in fact, of course, there are other shows. There's been about a half a dozen shows. Women.
Davis was president, right?
Yeah.
Gina Davis, Alfred Woodard. Gee, I feel there's like a couple. There's at least, I mean, but
Joan Allen, is that?
Yeah,
Joan
Yeah.
Allen. But I know there's more. When I say half a dozen, I swear I can't remember.
Shirley MacLaine.
Really?
Yeah, on TV. When was she playing
Movie.
president?
No.
Maybe a movie. But you know, and they kind of came after you had a series of black men who played presidents and sort of got the world used to that idea. You know, and I'm trying to think. Let's see, who? Oh, Blair Underwood played a president. Pardon?
Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah, he was up
Yeah, and I mean, so you know, I'm wondering if there's, and you didn't see it here exactly, but although I must say the women are so witty, they deserve to be president. They're so much smarter than everyone else on the coast. But do you think there's any? How can I put it? Do you think playing president has, you know, I mean, characters on television who play presidents? Do you think they have any effect on society? I mean, I'm speaking in terms of women and black men, or even black women, but generally speaking, or is it just a part?
Oh no, I think television in general is such an incredibly powerful medium. I don't know about specifically the president, you know, whether Dennis Haysbert or Morgan Freeman, you know, paved the way at all for Barack Obama. I don't think I'd say that, but certainly I think that Kerry Washington has paved the way for the simple reality that women of color are, you know, as Shonda says, she paints the world as she sees, as it is, that there's nothing unusual or exceptional or to be sort of, you know, other, I suppose, that to have a woman who, as Scandal frankly has developed, is not only next to power, she kind of is as powerful as anyone, including me. So, you know, or if you look at characters in television in terms of, you know, what's happened in, you know, LGBT rights and issues. You know, you had the clip with Sean and, you know, in Milk, but shows like, you know, what was one with Eric McCormick and Sean Hayes? Will and Grace, you know, I think very much Will and Grace brought, you know, gay characters into the mainstream of people's homes for a series of years, and in that time that show ran, I feel like the consciousness shifted because people who, you know, ignorance breeds contempt or whatever the expression is, you know, but that sort of familiarity of, you know, Eric was a rather sort of straight-seeming gay man, and Sean was this outrageous, character, and people just got comfortable, and it became ordinary. And I think that had a huge impact on Middle America and people who were not so familiar, who, like most of us who live on the coast, have a lot of gay friends, and you know, gay people are very much in our life, in our families, and it was not so much that way. So I think that's an example of how television has a massive impact. And so I suppose it might be the same.
Well, it's sort of it normalizes something that maybe one wouldn't have thought of.
Right.
It's not your character, but I mean, say Alfred's character, that didn't
absolutely.
last so long that show. But you see enough of that, and you start thinking, well, that makes sense. But you know,
It's just familiar. I mean, I just think so much of our prejudices and our biases are a function of unfamiliarity, really, and ignorance. and when something feeling uncomfortable, because I'm not, that's just not my thing. You know, I don't feel good about that. I don't quite know why, but it just doesn't feel right. I'm not prejudiced, I'm not racist, I'm not sexist. I just don't, and it's usually because of familiarity. You know, I feel threatened by it, I'm not sure why. It just seems uncomfortable, and I know that's so much the case with, you know, the gay rights movement.
Well, now, President Grant, he's a Republican.
Yes. Name only, he's the most progressive Republican. He gets Bernie Sanders around for his money, that's for sure.
Did you hear Bernie Sanders about Eisenhower? Well, the debate
Yeah,
last
that's right,
night.
that was true.
Bernie Sanders says, I'm not as much of a radical as Eisenhower.
90% tax in
On the upper,
right.
on the wealthy,
Yeah.
90% of your wealth went away. But what was that? I mean, I kind of can guess, but I'm curious what you know of it. What was that all about? And if he's really a Democrat, except in name only, why make him a Republican?
Well, that's really a question for Shonda. I think my guess, I've never actually asked her specifically. My guess is that it was too expected and kind of the cliche that that this character would be a Democrat, you know, progressive Democrat. I think she kind of wanted to turn everything on its ear. So even though all the issues that we hear about Fitz embracing tend to be blue issues, you know, the way Jeff Perry, who plays Cyrus, and I kind of discussed it when we were first doing the show, is I said, you know, our agenda in the Grant administration is to bring the Republican Party back where it belongs, and to do with the Republican Party what Clinton did with the Democratic Party, which was kind of bring it more to the center. So in my brain as an actor, that's what all these agendas are. You know, the Republican Party, which in fact is true, has been dominated by this extreme right, has really the Tea Party, and the extreme right has really dominated the conversation, which is why the Republican Party is in so much trouble right now. So the next Republican president will be most successful, I think, if, you know, he kind of re-enfranchises the mainstream. So that was kind of the justification that I gave to it, but I really can't go further than that because he really acts like a Democrat.
Yes. And then there's the Oval Office, which we just saw about 40 of them there, you know, millions of Oval Offices, but obviously here, because you shoot here. But have you spent much time at the real White House?
I've been there, you know, several times. I first went to the White House. I played a lot of political characters in my career. Early on, I played Carter's press secretary, Jody Powell, in a cable movie about the Iran hostage crisis. And then I was in a movie, The Pelican Brief, where I played the president's chief of staff. And when we were doing The Pelican Brief, we shot in Washington. And so I got to go, Alan Pakula, the great Alan Pakula, who directed that movie, it got me invited to the White House during the first Clinton administration. And I got to spend about 6 hours in the West Wing. I kept going, you guys have a country to run. But like George Stephanopoulos, who was then, you know, one of Clinton's closest advisors, you know, George, I just hung out with you the whole morning practically, and Mac McLarty was his chief of staff. And you know, the vice president was there, and unfortunately President Clinton wasn't, but I got to go to the Oval and met, you know, his secretary, what was her name? Who was it? What? Do you remember?
No.
She's really nice. Anyway, not Charlotte. My secretary. Anyway, that was thrilling. So I did then, and then over the years, you know, I've just gone back, certainly since Scandal, because everyone in the White House are massive Scandal fans, I discovered. So they're like, come on over. Like, you know, our mutual friend Jen Palmieri, who was Obama's communications director until she's now in the Hillary campaign. But yeah, so I've been back a few times and got to go into the Oval, you know, a couple years ago when I went there for the correspondence dinner.
Oh,